How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Battlefield 4 Loadout Military Edition. In the first episode where I showed you how to play as the Navy SEALs, it was widely requested down in the comments that I create a Spetsnaz build, so today's loadout is to play as Russia's crazy special forces. We're going to use the support kit simply for appearance's sake in order to acquire ourselves that menacing looking character with the balaclava, which is how you tend to see photos of Spetsnaz operators. And the difficulty for this one is pretty hard, which kind of works out well because the Spetsnaz training is famous for being the most brutal in the world. This is a very stripped back loadout, so it's kind of good training if you want to develop your own skills in Battlefield. This loadout is going to help you develop your gun skills by controlling that recoil without relying on any specific attachments. And the reference material that I've used for this episode, as you can see from these little clips, is the Deadliest Warrior TV show, in particular the episode where they placed the Green Berets against Spetsnaz, and of course Spetsnaz came out as the winners. The Deadliest Warrior episode gave us a roundup of the weapons used by Spetsnaz, and they listed the main weapon as the AK-74. We had the AK-74 back in BF4, but it's now moved on to the AK-12 in both Battlefield and in real life. The AK-12 is the latest version of the classic AK-47, and it's now replaced the AK-74 as the standard service rifle. Deadliest Warrior did list the AK-74 carbine, which is kind of work in our favour because we can instead use the AKU-12, which is the carbine variant of the AK-12 assault rifle, meaning that we can use this weapon on the support kit instead of having to run the assault kit. Thankfully, the AKU-12 has pretty low recoil as standard because we're going to leave all the accessories and optics as default. When we look at operators such as the Navy SEALs, it gives us an excuse to kit up our weapons with all kinds of attachments and accessories. But in the case of Spetsnaz, the actual Spetsnaz warriors are the weapon, with the rifle simply being a tool to get the job done. And this is the main reason I've listed this loadout as hard, since we often rely on those attachments to tame the recoil or increase our accuracy, so running a weapon completely naked does mean you're going to have to go back to basics and kind of learn how to play without any assistance. As for the sidearm, the Deadliest Warrior episode listed the Makarov pistol as the sidearm of choice, but the MP443 is also a commonly used pistol by the Russian and Spetsnaz forces, so since we haven't got the Makarov, we'll use the MP443, and yet again we'll leave the iron sights as the optic and opt for no accessory and the standard barrel. At least both the AKU-12 and the MP443 have some redeeming features, even though we're setting them up completely naked. The AKU has those low recoil values, while the MP443 has a decent magazine size at 18 rounds, which is plenty to take out at least a couple of enemies. So moving on, let's take a look at the equipment selections for the Spetsnaz loadout. In one section of the Deadliest Warrior episode, the presenters tested out the American M67 grenade against the Russians' RGD-5 grenade, which is much smaller and has a shorter blast radius. So in game we can select the V40 mini grenade as a kind of good reference to this, with it being smaller but also can be thrown much further. The offensive field upgrade is the perfect set of abilities. First off, we'll be granted increased sprint speed, as well as an increased inventory of ammo and grenades. Then most importantly, we've got the reduced fall damage to perform our Spetsnaz somersault hatchet attacks. So if you and your friends want to team up and play as a squad of deadly Spetsnaz warriors to destroy the whole battlefield, then your vehicle of choice will be the BTR-90, the Russian version of the LAV. This miniature tank is great for transporting all your teammates, and while it's not featured in the Deadliest Warrior episode, it can be seen on some Spetsnaz documentaries found on YouTube. Then there's one more item you might want to equip to finish off the Spetsnaz loadout. That's if you've been lucky enough to acquire it via a battle pack. And that is the Partisan camo option, described as the Russian oak leaf camouflage pattern popular with Spetsgruppe Alpha. So we'll give this setup a try to terrorise the battlefield as a Spetsnaz warrior. As always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed my video, liked any of the clips or learnt anything new. These Battlefield 4 loadouts take a considerable amount of research and preparation, so it always makes it worthwhile if they perform particularly well. If you want to see more of my Battlefield 4 loadouts, then there's two choices. You can either hit that subscribe button to stick around for future episodes, or if you check out the link to the full playlist down in the description, you'll find a list of all the episodes already posted. While you're in there, you'll find my links to Twitter, Facebook and Google+, where you can come and suggest future loadouts, or just come and say hello and see what I get up to outside of YouTube. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.